Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking on the newest Dare to Defy stage. This is the one that dropped with Astos, and it's pretty dang easy because you can just use Astos and blow it up. Pretty much any fight where like Astos works, it's going to be a cakewalk because he does so much ridiculous damage. I don't think he's going to be like an instant cheat code for any fight because, you know, we've seen a lot of mechanics lately where like bosses will have like weird thresholds where like if you're in the middle of a burst phase, you'll just like stop doing damage. We've seen force times where they heal back everything. So, but provided you can get a clean burst phase off with Astos without interruption from the enemies, like he's going to kill anything in the game. When this guy's doing 125 million in like one hit, like it's insane. Like some bosses, like 120 something million is like what their HP pool is. I think 180 million is a pretty common number, and he's almost doing that in one hit. So Astos, you know, I did my April Fool's video for Thancred where he like one-shot a Shinryu boss. Well, that's what Astos actually is. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, in this fight, we just bring Iris for support, and we bring Ursula, and my Ursula is no BT, but I figured, sure, this is a couple of nice little support characters I can use to support Astos. They're ones I haven't used yet on Dare to Defy. There's only one stage left, so I feel pretty free to kind of use whatever I want. Whatever the next stage is going to be, which, I don't know, maybe it's going to be Oron and Crevasse. If it is, and they do a Dare to Defy for Oron's Crevasse, well then I will use Oron on that fight and probably blow it up with the defense comp, right? So I feel like I'm pretty good at this point. The community stream is going to be, well, at the time I'm recording this, it's later today, but I think I'm going to put this up after the community stream, so you guys will know more than what I do currently as I'm recording this as to what's coming next and what that last Dare to Defy is going to look like. But what's nice about using Iris with Astos, I kind of want to show off in this video, she can copy the ridiculous damage, right? No, I don't get off like 125 mil copy or anything like that, but we get a really nice copy from her in this video, so it is a nice pairing to show that like Iris is very abusable with Astos, and this is what I talked about earlier when we initially did like should you pulls on Iris. As a support character, she immediately has longevity, but she actually has longevity in terms of damage, which is hard to get from a support character, but it's because she literally is copying damage. So as long as you're upgrading your roster with like modern DPS characters, like Iris is always going to be able to do really good damage. Now, if you picked up Astos, I mean, literally in JP right now, like, he's still, like, top tier, which is insane. So, like, you can just ride this guy to the moon. Like, if you really wanted to be stingy with your resources, you probably don't have to pull a DPS character for, like, a year. Darn near a year. If you really wanted to, and you could ride Astos. Now, it is still nice to have diversity. Other DPS characters will have mechanics that will help meet certain Shinryu. That's really the one thing stopping you from just, like, riding one or two characters. Like, the reason, like, old DFFOO used to be you could get like a really good team of 3 characters and just ride them for like 8 months to a year. Well, the game's gotten more complex, more mechanics, where like you really do need a variety of characters. But I would say if you got Astos, you're safer to skip DPS characters for a while and just go for like support utility type characters. You'd probably be good to go. And also being that Astos is non-elemental, like it's pretty hard for him to get locked out of fights, right? Like I said, the big things that are going to lock him out are like if there's enemies that for some reason punish you for doing too much damage at once, which I don't know that there's a boss like that. But I'm mostly thinking like mechanics that just stop you from doing his burst phase and killing all in one shot. But then if you have a character like Iris, you can just go turn to turn and then let Iris copy his damage. That's kind of nasty too, right? So here we are. We're in force time. The enemies are going to go down very quick once we get properly set up. So the goal here is just to have my burst effects up. We're dropping off the Astos BT effect right now, so then we know what's going to happen is next turn we're going to be going into burst phase, and then we're really going to be blowing stuff up. Now, my Astos definitely could do more damage than what you're going to see in this video because my Ursula does not have BT. I am sitting at 45 BT tokens right now. I am kind of tempted to grab the Ursula BT, but I really do want to see what's coming up next month. Because it's also very tempting to just say whatever the next BT character I want is, to just go in with tickets on them and use like if Oron is next, right? I would just need the FR BT. I could just ticket the FR, and I'm like so overloaded on tickets, like I need to use them on something. So it's pretty tempting for me to say just ticket Oron's FR and then token the BT, right? Rather than grab a character that already released. We'll have to see. Because Ursula, I'm thinking I would want mostly for just like showcasing. Because she does like help characters put up really good numbers, but it's like, would I rather have that or rather have a character I'm planning to like use more, right? So I don't know. We'll see. All right. The issue that I have with Ursula here too that I don't like is she does steal turns, and like she has a lot of like quick turn rate. So we actually ended up here on like turn 5 going into Astos BT. Doesn't really matter because Astos is going to do so much damage. It's absolutely crazy. Actually, no. I think what I decided here, because I got so deep into it, I'm like, all right, well, let's just Echo then. And I kind of thought, well, let's just maybe do this without Astos BT. But what happens is we get down to like 2 turns left, and I'm like, well, I could go BT phase just to get back-to-back turns and kind of finish it. But this here's where we can get a nice copy, right? So there was like a 27 mil AoE. Iris has EX up, so we can copy that damage. And we can pull Astos back up to get another hit. So this was really nice here when you're not doing the burst phase. And there we go. We got 30 mil AoE from Iris because she copied the 27, and then she does get some of her own damage off of the EX. So that was really nice. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just Echo again. Astos, you know, could have done like a 15 or 35 and done more damage. So what I've come to discover is FR is actually one of his weaker attacks. So like when you go into a burst phase, it's better to like do the FR early, and then like his 15 and 35 and EX, those are the ones that hit like really crazy hard. So here with Ursula, I'm like, sure, let's just do the HP plus attack. And then we have Astos again. So I notice if I take a turn with Astos, he's not going to get another turn. So I'm like, let's use Reigns to like pull up in front of that. Well, I probably didn't need to do that. But this I thought was kind of a nice little move because I'm pulling myself in front of the enemies. I'm putting myself down to 2 turns on force. But now it's like I can go burst phase and have 2 turns of launching with Astos, which is going to be plenty because he's going to do so much damage and the gauge is like maxed, right? So look at these enemies at like 35 and 25%. We're going to one-shot each of them. So I thought rather than just like, you know, the other thing here is like I could do an attack with Astos and then copy with Iris, but I didn't have Iris's EX ready. So I'm like, yeah, let's just go into burst phase. It's going to be overkill damage. But I'm like, dude, we got to drop this EX down. This thing does, because it's 9 dumps. It does so much damage. Look at that. So much damage. And with the launching. And then it's like, bam, 108 million. Pretty dang good. And that was without Ursula BT effect, right? His cremation actually is like a very, very weak attack. It's very deceiving because normally when like they get specially named HP attacks, they're usually pretty good. But his was pretty dang weak. I saw it in the, you know, we did it in the showcase. It was not looking good at all. There's another 102 mil. So I mean, back to back like 100 mil shots. Like what bosses are just not surviving that, right? And then now the BT effect, or the BT effect is still up, but we don't have the force gauge, right? So you can see how weak that was at only, what, 500k, or was that 5 mil? That might have been 5 mil, actually. But yeah, here, let's do Dark Glory. This should hit pretty dang good for, like, not having force time. I think he is still under BT effect. So yeah, 7 mil right there, pretty good. Dude, a 7 mil shot for, like, not having force time is really good. And now his burst effect is gone. And it might have been gone on the last one too. But I know like during the showcase, I did like a 9 mil shot without force time, which is ridiculous. Yeah, see, that was only 500k. And then we'll just end with the FR. This is going to be pretty weak too. But obviously the boss is like over dead at this point. So it's totally good. So yeah, fights with Astos are going to go very quick. And I know some people had said they weren't going to pull for Astos because they didn't want the game to be too easy. And that is a legitimate reason not to pull. If you don't want the game to be too easy, don't pull Astos. If you want the game to be easy, then pull Astos. Because yeah, this fight got absolutely obliterated. I didn't really get to see many of the mechanics, but this might be just like a decent fight to like showcase in. Because the bosses do have a lot of HP. And they didn't have like any lethal mechanics, and I can kind of just do what I want to do. So there we go, 237 mil burst phase. Astos is absolutely busted. He's doing 100 million per shot. Kind of crazy. Let me know what you think of this, man. Let me know what you did for this Dare to Defy. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.